Welcome to Turbo Trends F1. Dive into the fast lane with our comprehensive car reviews and the latest updates from the auto world. Hey everyone, today I've brought another exciting review on the 2025 Volkswagen Golf GTI. Stick shift aficionados looking for a new Volkswagen Golf GTI should act fast. For model year 2025, Volkswagen will discontinue the 6-speed manual, and this move also affects the pricier and more powerful Golf R. With the refreshed 8th generation GTI still a fair way away from the US, we headed overseas to shake down a European model and see just how much we'll miss the 3-pedal setup. Dwindling global demand apparently no longer justifies the extra outlay and complexity, so customers must either settle for the familiar 7-speed dual-clutch automatic or look to the competition from Japan and Korea. Even more bad news for Americans. The Hardcore Clubsport Edition, fitted with the TorqueWear 296-up engine, Go Fast cosmetics, and an optional top-speed lifting race package that includes an Akrapovic exhaust, won't make it to the US at all. In Europe, the base model also gets a power upgrade. The 4th generation 1984 SEA 888 engine develops 261 horsepower, up 20 from the 2024 vintage. Sadly, the US won't get the extra grunt. For all markets, the maximum torque is an unchanged 273 pound-feet starting at 1600 rpm. According to its maker, the Euro GTI ME 8.5 can accelerate to 62 miles per hour in an estimated 5.9 seconds, shaving a few tenths off the previous best. Although the top speed is restricted to 155 miles per hour, our car managed an indicated 170 miles per hour, also explaining, in part, our disappointing observed fuel economy. 23 mi recorded over a 2-day, 355-mile blast through East German no man's land. The 2025 GTI wears some more vivid makeup than its predecessor, featuring redesigned high-intensity matrix headlamps and illuminated Volkswagen emblem. More prominent aero aids, additional blacked-out styling elements, 5-dot fog lights, a rear roof spoiler, and LED taillamps with optional sweeping sequential indicators. Whereas lesser versions run on 17 and 18-inch wheels and tires, our car featured extra-cost 19-inchers. The Bridgestone Potences are size 235/35 all around for top-notch traction and cornering grip. However, footwear-induced compromises include a brittle low-speed ride, a tendency to tramline along longitudinal grooves, and an occasionally brusque response to transverse undulations. Inside, the premier eye-catcher is a larger and more intuitive tablet-like infotainment. While the center section is loaded with icons, the 2 programmable touch bars at the top and bottom provide instant access to preferred functions. Imprecise touch sliders control volume and temperature return, but at least they're now illuminated. The available voice recognition system is connected to ChatGPT and a much bigger online database. The rearranged gauge cluster display offers 3 different views. In addition to 2 round instruments, Classic, you can summon a mixed bag of tiles, Progressive, or settle for the all-red GTI readout that features a large combined speedometer and tachometer flanked by 2 secondary gauges. The useful head-up display costs extra. Like all previous GTI models, this one comes with a version of the original neo-tartan cloth upholstery complemented by red stitching and embroidered logos. The GTI ME 8.5 features an electronically controlled front differential lock dubbed XDS Plus, which masterminds the torque flow at each front wheel via a wet multi-disc clutch. The 4 driving modes are Eco, Comfort, Sport, and Individual. The last invites you to fine-tune the steering, chassis, and drivetrain in multiple discrete steps from laid back to full attack. That's the good news. The bad news is the absence of the even sharper special calibration reserved for the Clubsport model. Also known as Nordschleife mode, Special does a better job tying the car down at speed when big bumps, high G-forces, and unilateral irregularities threaten to disturb the flight path. No matter the drive mode, the soundtrack is disappointing. With the exception of faint turbo hiss under load, the system produces noise rather than music. At least there are no puerile fake interludes to frown at. It also takes consistent high revs and frequent gear shifts to deliver the goods. Even with the transmission in Sport, this Golf is more GT than GTI. Activating the manual mode frees a bit more on-demand energy, but the shift paddles are too small, and why are they made of plastic, not metal? We were further haunted by a frustratingly hesitant throttle response, which turned into a full 2-second lag when we put the foot down hard in 4th or 5th gear. Then suddenly, all hell would break loose with a bang and a jolt before the torque wave straightened again, not what the doctor ordered. Volkswagen brags that Sven Bohnhorst, former senior test driver for Bugatti, was reportedly instrumental in setting up the revised progressive rate steering. The new tiller may indeed be a tad more precise and direct, but it still isn't quite quick enough, and it requires too much effort even with the scalable assistance set to its minimum. As a result, the car feels bigger and heavier than it is, as well as less playful overall. The weight of the helm, the pronounced on-center stiffness, and the near 40-foot turning circle make this GTI feel less nimble and agile than early variations of the breed. Even on unrestricted stretches of Autobahn, where high-speed stability is of the essence, the driver's palms are kept busy by an odd haptic strife that wells up between the steering and the front axle, especially on bumpy terrain. One of the car's strongest points are its brakes. True, the base GTI must do with smaller rotors, whereas the Clubsport variant is fitted with bigger discs, but even the standard setup is spot on in terms of response, effort, and staying power. Linear and easy to modulate, the stopping apparatus is good at building underfoot confidence. The adaptive dampers are, in principle, a good thing too. But while the drivetrain is best left in sport and the steering in comfort, the chassis is a little too harsh in sport and a little too swooshy in comfort. We eventually settled for an in-between calibration that felt more okay than brilliant. Lift-off oversteer, an emphatic specialty of the unforgettable first-generation GTI, is now an absolute rarity even with stability control disabled and a part-time hooligan at the wheel on a damp and winding road. Don't even think about reaching for the handbrake, which is a push-button job without fly-off capability. Although the latest iteration is a compelling performer, it takes the pricier Golf R to challenge the leading hot hatches from Japan, Korea, and Germany. The base GTI is merely swift, not tarmac-peeling fast. Still only available in front-wheel drive form, it cannot quite match its all-wheel drive rivals for off-the-line performance, nor will it blow your socks off above 60 miles per hour when drag and weight enter the equation. As a result, the new GTI drives more like a GLI, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. After all, the Mach 8.5 metamorphosis of the ultimate hot hatch rides better than its Asian rivals, is at least as well made, and, unless the $33,190 sticker price balloons when deliveries commence in early 2025, is a good value. Appreciating the numerous talents of the upgraded GTI is easy. Falling head over heels in love with it is more difficult. But in the US at least, the pool of valid alternatives is drying up fast. And the last time we looked, the ultimately more desirable Golf R was a hefty $13,700 more expensive. But if you are in the market for a 3-letter Golf, why not start by scanning the web for a discounted last-of-line 6-speeder? Thanks for tuning into Turbo Trends F1. Hit subscribe and stay connected for more car reviews and the latest automotive news.